ready to go here? Well, I want to thank you all for coming here today. They say sometimes, an old mentor of mine said, success is measured by the amount of trouble you can absorb. Well, our impromptu partnership with the city here to try to resolve the issues pertaining to Plaza Towers and also on a much larger scale, the sewer system of the city of Grand Rapids is significant, but we're making significant progress as well. And I'm thankful that the mayor is showing his support here by being here with us. And I would like to introduce him to you to make a few comments as it pertains to what we are doing here to resolve this situation quickly for everybody involved.
Well, thank you, Paul. And it's also equally true that it's better to have relationships develop before you get into these crisis situations, and we've enjoyed a wonderful relationship with Paul, with the Einhorn Company, and as tenants, as the owners rather of this building. So now that we're experiencing problems, it's all the more helpful to know the people you're working with and have those levels of trust in them. This, of course, was the second building that was evacuated in the city of Grand Rapids, down on Plaster Creek. The Park Place apartments were the first to be evacuated, while we were able to relatively quickly re-inhabit that building or that complex down south of 28th Street. This one is proving to be a bit more challenging to us right here on the Grand River with the water levels that we experienced in the Grand River. What I can tell you is that the communication has been constant between the city and the owners. We've been in regular contact with them. I'm really grateful that you've called this press conference so that we can update not only the community but especially those residents who have been displaced from the building temporarily, and give them a sense of what we're doing as a city, what the owner is doing to as quickly as possible get them back into the building. I brought with me city engineer Mark DeClercq to explain some of the engineering niceties of the challenge we're faced with right now. So Mark, why don't you join me up here, and you can explain where we are right now. And I'll get out of the way here.
Okay. Tim, if you join me. Yeah, Tim Den-Hartig for the building structural engineer on behalf of the building site here. And basically what we need to look at is the general context of what we have out there, a parking structure in this building with relationship to the site and also the flood wall system, and take a look at that in a broad context and determine what to do from there. We're very interested in the river level with respect to the water level that's inside the parking ramp. Make sure that we don't drain the parking ramp water too quick as opposed to the lowering of the crest of the river water. So again, we can't determine anything until really we get the parking ramp dry and be able to assess, with Tim here with respect to, what's out there. But we're going to work as a team, as partners on this going forward to make sure we protect both the city interest and the interest here at Plaza Towers.
You want to add something further from the perspective of the building engineer?
Well, I guess the only thing that I need to say is the structural integrity of the towers and of the parking garage itself. There's no damage seen and there's no damage foreseen.
I think you might want to elaborate a little bit on the 12-foot sewer line that runs in the building, which is the city's concern.
Right. The sewer line that Mark was talking about is a 12-foot concrete arch sewer that runs at a diagonal with respect to the parking garage. And the concern is a loss of soil support around the sewer itself and any damage to that sewer. So by leaving the water in the garage, basically we've slowed down the drawdown of water in the garage. That helps act as a counterbalance or a counterweight for the hydrostatic pressure that's pushing up on the underside of the slab.
And at this time, we do know that the sewer is partially full, so we haven't had any indication that there is any issue with that sewer.
Is this a sanitary sewer or stormwater sewer?
A sanitary sewer.
Tim, so what's the risk if the water gets drawn down out of the garage too quickly?
Well, not drawn down out of the ground, drawn out above the garage. The risk is the water rushing up under, so it basically, as it rushes up, it'll carry soil, and we'll lose the soil support around the sewer line.
What happens if you lose support around the sewer line? Do things collapse?
Localized damage, yeah.
What does localized damage mean?
Possibly cracking, some leakage in the sewer itself.
We're going to have some more questions too after this. We wanted to bring up Paul to introduce Sherry.
So I'd like to introduce Sherry here. She's with 211. She's helping with all the displaced residents, and would like to say a few words about what she does for our community, and in particular what resources she has available for the displaced residents. Please go ahead, Sherry.
Thank you. And thank you, Mayor and Tower Plazas, for having me here today. I'm with 211 at Heart of West Michigan United Way, and we are a 24/7 information and referral service, and we have been responding to flood-related calls, more so in the last couple of days as households are going back to their homes and looking at the damage that has been done. Most of our requests have been on the recovery aspect. And we are available with services for anybody regardless of their income. So anybody that has any flood-related questions or needs connection to services, please call 211.
What's your last name, Sherry?
It is Vinovich. It's V as in Victor, that's why we didn't say it. V as in Victor, AINAVICZ.
How do you spell your first name?
SHERRI.
We have a few minutes for a few questions now.
I think one more individual that would like to say a few words is Eric DeLong, the Deputy City Manager, who has been instrumental in helping us with this as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I want you to know that we're working as a team on this project. It's involving our engineers, the engineers from the owner, and it's really we have significant joint interest here that we're working together to manage. So the building system is solid, our sewer system is solid, and it's our goal, joint goal, to keep it that way. And so that's why we're working on developing a drawdown plan that eventually will lead to a recommissioning of the building. And it's in both of our interests to get that done as well as we can and as rapidly as we can, given the environmental conditions that we face. And by environmental, I'm talking about the level of the river, the level of groundwater, and how fast those both recede. So it's a very intricate and delicate dance that we'll be involved in here, and but it's one that we believe we know how to do, and we'll be able to execute together in a way that achieves our joint interests. So I'm very confident in that, and by working together, we will do this, I think, exceptionally well. So I'm looking forward to it.
We've got time for a few questions.
Eric or Mark, what's the process or checklist to getting this building open at this point in the timeline?
Very good question. I can't give you a timeline because it depends on the environmental factors that I told you about, the level of the groundwater and the level of the river. But we've assembled a team of city staff that are exploring just that very question. So what happens first? So obviously, we think the broad outlines are the river recedes, the groundwater recedes, we get the water out of the basement, check that off. Then you move on to building systems recommissioning, and we can do we can plan ahead for that as we're working on the first phase, but then we get into that next. And then once we're done with that, then we're ready to roll. So we'll be working with Mr. Hewley and his staff, and we'll put together a plan together that will accomplish that.
How far does the river have to fall before you can start completing the pumping out of the garage area?
Well, we don't know yet. So we know we know that it's at about 20.75 today, as we speak. We think it's going to be at 18 by the end of Thursday, so in a couple of days. So that's good news. So now we have to figure out how the groundwater goes down. Groundwater usually lags river water, so we'll have to monitor that, and those indications will tell us what we can do. So that's what our.
Do you have a target number?
I do not have a target number. That's what our engineers are here to help us do. So they don't have a target number either. So
So the residents,
Who are not able to use their condominium to step up with?
Sure.
And their property that's been damaged in the storage downstairs, loss of use of their condominiums, loss of rent, what relief will they get, if any, from the owner of the building?
In terms of the residents that are renting, we've already informed them that we are abating giving rent credits for the rent that they have paid for the period that their apartment is not usable. In addition to that, although none of these provisions are covered necessarily by insurance, because this is a flood and an act of God, we have said that we will reimburse them an allotment for food that has been spoiled as well. As to the situation with the cars, the majority of those cars will have been covered by their insurance for their car insurance, and those people that are faced with different individual situations, we will handle on a case-by-case basis. It's our intention to assist wherever we can, and we've made allocations accordingly to try to make us shine. We're the best apartment community in Grand Rapids. I honestly believe that, and we're going to make sure that in a difficult time, we're also going to shine and take care of the people that made us their home.
So you're debating the rent credits, was that?
No, it's not a matter of being debated, it's being granted.
I misheard.
No.
How many cars are damaged?
I don't know because it's not safe at this point to go in there, but I believe it's between 20 to 30 cars, which, considering the parking garage I think holds 600 cars. I mean, if it's your car, it's not a good thing, obviously, but it's a bad situation, and even my brother, that's how, he lost 2 cars. I hadn't parked it in there for a little while. That was a bad advice as a brother, so he's out his 2 cars now. So.
Is there other storage down there where other property is stored that are not vehicles?
I think there's bicycles down there, and then obviously in the basement of the Plaza Towers, there's a very significant impact to the hotel. All the linens, all the HR information, all those kind of things are stored down there. And all our engineering is stored there as well. So it's a significant issue.
Is there a concern about mold?
Whenever you have a water damage like this, there's always a concern of mold, but we'll have a mold mediation company that we will engage to make sure that all the drywall will be removed according to regular specifications and mediate any type of mold issue.
This might be more of an engineering question, but they said that the building is structurally sound. What's been done to determine that? How do you know?
Well, the building itself, it's an engineering question, but the building itself, is on pillars all the way to the bedrock, all right? And so even if you were to, sweep away all the dirt between here and the bedrock, you're still just fine. So, you're looking at again, the big concern, and I don't want to talk out of place here, we'd have the engineers talk, the big concern is that we do not impact the rest of our community by pumping out too quickly, having the sewer be an issue, and all of us cannot go potty anymore. It'll be bad.
No one has given a timeline in terms of weeks, months, years. What are you preparing for? Is this a 6-month thing? Is
No,
this a 3-week
no.
thing?
we're not preparing for months and years here. I mean, the river has already receded almost a foot in one day, and so I'm looking at excuse me. I'm looking at a very tight time frame, and we actually have all our engineers and contractors on standby. In the moment we have the water levels down, regardless if it's day or night, they will be out here working, and you'll actually see outside already staged big lights that we will actually be putting up if you have to work at night. And that pump down there pumps like 9,000 gallons per minute. So once we get the go-ahead from engineering, I mean, we are on it.
Once the basement's dry, what has to happen? Electrical circuits have to be checked, or what?
Yeah. We'll just need to thoroughly go through each system. Electrical, water, fire.
Do you know for sure what happened, or do you have an idea? And
I can't speculate on that until we end up actually getting into the various building systems to see exactly where the failure occurred. I don't know at this point.
When you guys look at the financial numbers, do you guys have an estimate of how much it's going to cost to pump all this water out, and then as well, like how much it's going to cost to reimburse people for the rent, and then also the fees for the refrigerators? Have you guys looked at the budget for any of that stuff?
Well, we've put some preliminary numbers together, but I would hold those numbers confidential at this point.
Paul, do you have a choice in the matter here, or is it really up to the city to determine the process here of getting back into the building?
I think we're working together as a partnership to do best for our overall community. So it's not a matter of the city coming down and saying you have to do this. I mean, we're doing this together. What is best for the greater community?
Let's go. We can do some one-on-ones now. But let's kind of cut it off. That way you can get individually what you need. So thank you so much for coming.